Pre-lesson 4-2, day 1. I want you to really pay attention on this pre-lesson to the language for your sample problems prior to doing your homework problems. The instructions state factor. Very simple instructions. But if you don't understand what factor means, then what good does that word do? You don't know what to do. So I'm going to try to help you with just understanding the instructions. Also, I'm going to help you kind of get going on some of these problems, a couple of tricks of the trade. All right. First of all, you guys have had pre-algebra and you've had algebra and you've seen this enough. I need you to know something. X plus 4 plus x minus 6 does not mean multiply. Many students, they just see a pair of parentheses and it's just like hitting your kneecap with a hammer. It's just ding, you just multiply. No, because look, this just says add. So it's really just like this. So x plus x is 2x, 4 minus 6 is negative 2. So all I did was add. But if there's nothing in between here, this definitely implies multiply. Now how do I multiply? Well, this is where FOIL. And I know you've heard of it. So, but what does this stand for? It stands for first, outer, outer, inner, last. What does that mean? Well, the first term in each spot, in each binomial, you're going to multiply together, then you're going to add the outer, which is x and negative 6. Then you're going to add the inner product, which is 4 and x. Just trying to show my work. And you're going to add the product of the last two items. And now we're just going to do the work. So that's x squared. This is minus 6x. This is 4x. And this is minus 24. And if I added like terms, I'd get x squared minus 2x minus 24. And that would be my answer after I multiplied these two binomials. Okay? And that's FOILing. The problem is you guys are going to be given trinomials, and the instructions are to factor. Now, let me give you a little review. If I said, hey, what are the two factors of 27? You might say 27 and 1. You might say 9 and 3. In other words, 27 times 1 is 27. 9 times 3 is 27. So these are two factors of 27. Now you're going to try to treat this like a number and figure out what the two factors are. Now, the reason I teach it this way is because I've already given you the answer. The answer is right here. Now let's act like you didn't know that. Let's say you didn't know any of this. And you're like, well, how do I get started? Here's how you get started. Number 1, put your trinomial in descending order. You remember yesterday's lesson? It was talking about degrees, the degrees of the polynomial. This is where it's important. This is where it takes traction. So we're going to look at the degree of the polynomial, which happens to be a trinomial. And so I already have that, x squared and then x and then no x. So it's already done. So I can put a check in that box, even though there's no box. Number 2, I recommend make sure your x squared is positive. Now the reason I put that in quotations, you could have a y squared, a z squared, an a squared. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying make sure the squared term is positive. Well, what if it isn't? We'll talk about that on some examples coming up. But I'm going to try to keep it simple on this pre-lesson, just to get the wheels turning. And the third thing you're going to do is you're going to look at your constant. Now, what's your constant? Well, that's the part of the trinomial that's never going to change. Now, what are these called? Variables. These vary. These can change. So my constant needs to be negative 24. And what you're going to do here is you're going to try to find two factors of this number that add up to the middle coefficient. So I'm going to just list them all. Negative 24 and 1. 24 and negative 1. 12 and negative 2, negative 12 and 2, negative 8 and 3, 8 and negative 3, negative 6 and 4, 6 and negative 4. Is that it? I think that's it. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out which one of these adds up to negative 2. Well, you can see that this adds up to negative 25, so that's gone. This adds up to positive 22, that's gone. This adds up to 14, that's gone. This adds up to negative 9, that's gone. This adds up to negative 11, gone. This adds up to, where'd the negative go? Oh, I got off base there. Holy smokes. Wow. Wow. Okay. Wow. Sorry. Negative 24 and 1. That's crazy. Wow. Negative 12 and 2. I got to go back and watch that. That's going to look crazy. And then I get negative 8 and 3, 8 and negative 3, negative 6 and 4, 6 and negative 4. Now let's just cut to the chase, because you kind of saw what I was getting at, I think. Isn't it true that negative 6 and 4 have a sum of negative 2, and that's what we want? So these are called your magical numbers. I don't know how magical they are, but you're going to factor a trinomial into two binomials. And I take my x squared and I go, okay, I got to put an x there and an x there. Here's my negative 24. I need two numbers when multiplied that give me negative 24, but when they add up, they get negative 2, and I found them. So I get negative 6 and positive 4. Now somebody else could have written it x plus 4 and x minus 6. Those are both fine, okay? What's 7 times 2? 14. What's 2 times 7? 14. So the order, like this one or this one, the order doesn't matter. But if you screwed up the signs and you went like this, that would be wrong. Why would that be wrong? Watch. X times x is x squared. X times 6 is 6x. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. What do these add up to? 2x. See, we want negative 2x. So it does get a little persnickety, and you just have to be careful. Now, there's a couple tricks I'm going to show you in the packet lesson, but that's it for the pre-lesson. I think you guys get the gist.